Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video, or I guess it's more of a discussion really here. So, the third Turf Wars live stream, live reading from Dark Horse just ended, and straight away there was no news. And I think the second we saw that the announcement for what the thing was on the stream was another live reading, we knew there wasn't going to be any comic news. I just don't think it was reasonable to assume that they'd finish off this book and then fit in an announcement of a comic, because otherwise they would have promoted this as being the reveal of a new comic. There's no way they wouldn't. This was never going to be a surprise reveal of a comic. So I was more watching this to, one, see the reading, because I watched the other two. Why wouldn't I watch this? But to see if they would tease anything for next week's stream, because again, the statement that we're going off here also mentioned something about the following week, but there was nothing really. So my interpretation of that is that they probably have guests, but for some other franchise relating to the stream next week. Now, was there anything on this stream that sort of furthered the tease that there is an announcement for Core Comics coming at some point? Yes, kind of. It by no means was a focus or an announcement of an announcement or anything like that. But Cara O'Neill, who was obviously on this one, she's the one who obviously made the quote that everyone thought oh, big news is coming. She did mention basically that, the exact quote, let me try and get this as accurately as possible. She basically, towards the end of the stream, said something along the lines of, when there's news, you'll know about it. It'll be big, basically. Which, to me, directly hinted that, look, there's some big announcement that they're waiting to put out. They earlier on, when the live reading finished, she also said something along the lines of that there's kind of more coming, but they're not quite ready to announce anything yet. That combined with stuff when they briefly brought up that Mike and Brian have left the live action Netflix show, and it was just noted that they're both working on the Avatar comics and Korra comics, and Mike is the writer. Now, I don't know if that's confirming to us for sure that Mike is going to be the writer on whatever Korra comic does get announced when it gets announced, but it's something you might be able to read into. So straight away, if you were thinking that this was going to have news or a tease of news, not really, but it does, I think, confirm to us that, we obviously suspect, and we pretty much already knew this because of what Rachel Roberts said, because of what Cara O'Neill said on last week's live stream, and then I suppose a little bit of what she said here. There's definitely Korra books that they're waiting to announce, and they're going to have some sort of a big announcement for it. I get the impression they're probably not going to do it on a stream, and that it will be some news article that does it, and Dark Horse will just post about it on social media. But again, even that I'm not particularly sure of. There's no indication whatsoever about when this announcement is going to be, or anything like that. But she did oddly mention that Katara and the Pirate Silver, but I suppose the Toph comic was basically meant to be their San Diego Comic-Con reveal. I was kind of I guess. I don't know, that just felt weird, because when was the last time they announced a book at San Diego Comic-Con? Because it's always been New York Comic-Con recently, so just very confusing situation overall. She stressed a few times that a lot of the books are going to get reprints. I think she was mainly talking about the Korra books, that she just said the reason a lot of the Dark Horse Avatar books are sort of out of stock right now is because they do get regularly reprinted. It's just that there's delays to those reprintings. Beyond that, I don't think there's really too much to talk about with the stream, because if you're here for the actual live reading, if you were a little bit late, you probably missed it, because the live reading itself was maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Because they only had the last 16 pages of Turf Wars Part 1 to do. And half of the last couple of pages of Turf Wars Part 1 is action. So there's no dialogue there. So it was just the voice actors, doing their best to do the sound effects. There's very little dialogue in the last couple of pages of Turf Wars. So they got through the full live reading of these final 16 pages. Like I said, in like 4 or 5 minutes, and we're done. And the whole chat was like, whoa, that's it? Like, you're not going into Turf Wars Part 2 at all? And the rest of the stream was pretty much just like, 55 minutes or something like that of the voice actors pretty much just chatting. It was kind of Q&A. Again, it was your typical moderated Q&A, which like might as well not even be a Q&A. Like, there was like 3 or 4 questions asked from the chat. None of them that interesting. And like, it's to the point where this stream ended up being like, nearly an hour, 10 minutes. I'd say about 10 minutes of the overall stream was actually like Avatar related in some way. Maybe 15 minutes at a stretch. Everything else was pretty much just the voice actors talking to each other, which, if you care a lot about the voice actors and follow them and stuff like that, is interesting. But if you're here for the Avatar stuff because it's an Avatar and Korra stream, there wasn't a lot here for you really, because the live reading was done like that. None of the questions were that interesting with regards to the Avatar sides of things. And the tease of new news or announcements wasn't really there. Like, if we were at like a 9 or a 10 on the excitement scale after what was said on last week's live stream, it feels like we're down to like a 4 at this point. Where like, we know news is coming, but we're just at the point where like, oh, like, she might as well have not said anything last week on stream, because we're just back to the same position we were before, where yeah, there's something coming, but like, when's it going to be? Like, we have no clue whatsoever about when the books are actually going to be announced. Because again, like, the last Korra comic was in February. Like, that's when Runes of the Empire Part 3 came out. Obviously Runes of the Empire Library Edition is coming out, I think, next week in comic book stores, and then it's like 2 weeks after that for regular bookstores. I will have a review of the book when I get it. I think I'll be getting it closer to the bookstore release date, so don't expect me to have a review of the Runes of the Empire Library Edition next week. It'll be more in line with the, 22nd, I think, of September release date, rather than the 9th of September release date. But yeah, I think that's most of what I want to talk about here. Just that, like, yeah, these live streams very much are a thing where, like, if you care about Turf Wars, you'll probably want to watch the live reading itself. If you care about the voice actors and just them talking, sure, stick around for the whole thing. But I definitely wouldn't recommend most fans just like watch the full thing, because like I said, it's like an hour, 10 minutes, and 90% of it is not really particularly on topic for what the stream actually was. And definitely, if you came into because of the hype from last week, you'd come out of this extremely disappointed. So just be aware of that. So yeah, they're my thoughts on this live stream. They seem to imply they probably would do another one. I kind of got the impression that like Janet Varney, who seems to organize this on like the voice actor side of things, wants to do it, but like Cara O'Neill on the Dark Horse side of things was just kind of like, we may or may not do part 2. I guess from their perspective, even though it's just the audio and they don't show the pages, they don't want to just have like a full comic series up, like fully just spoken out, even if it is these fun events. So I don't know what to take from that. I guess if they are going to come back for one, they might just maybe switch over to Runes of the Empire and do Runes of the Empire Part 1. Get maybe a different group of voice actors and stuff like that. Like I said before, like if they could get Zelda Williams in to do Kuvira in the Kuvira centric comic, I think that would be really good. But yeah, they're my thoughts on the live stream here. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.